Congressman Pat Fallon, I have a pretty good idea, Congressman, what you'd like to hear out of the court. Maybe you could spell it out for us.
Well, Neil, thanks for having me on. You know, we had Biden, essentially his border czar, Dr. Gupta, in front of the Oversight Committee yesterday, and he testified twice, Neil, that he felt the border was secure. Now, this is a border that had a record number of illegal border crossings, illegal crossings in April, 234,000, and it was only exceeded by May, which was almost 240,000. We've had 107,000 Americans die of drug overdoses, 80,000 fentanyl overdoses, and that's his definition of a secure border. That is remarkable, and that is complete and utter gross negligence.
So what happens, Congressman, if the Supreme Court did not support this Remain in Mexico policy? I have no idea how the justices are going to rule, but what would be your fear?
That there's pretty much utter chaos now, and we didn't think it could get worse from last year, Neil, and it has. So let's just run some numbers. Roughly speaking, there's about 250,000 people crossing the border illegally every month, and then there's about 70,000 known gotaways. So that's what they know about. So that's 320,000 a month already. If you take away Wait in Mexico, basically we're going to have a de facto open border, because what these NGOs and what the progressives are telling the folks that migrate illegally to the country is to claim asylum. They're economic migrants. They're not political asylum seekers, the vast majority, as we know. But we're going to be looking at 5 to 10 million illegals coming across the border every year, and that's completely unsustainable.
All right, and then we get these tragic stories of these 48 migrants who were found dead, essentially suffocated in the heat in a semi truck in Texas. We're likely to see more of this type of stuff the more desperate they become, right?
Yeah, well, Neil, these fine folks are commodities. They're not human beings to the drug cartels. They're just a means to an end. They charge about $4,000 a person to smuggle them across the border, to get them to the border. And if you don't pay, they'll probably either harm you or kill you. And so people pay up because people are vicious. And this is what Joe Biden's administration has done, is essentially let the drug cartels dictate border immigration policy and border policy to the United States. I mean, we've had 1 million pounds of illegal narcotics seized on the border in the Biden administration, and 7,000 pounds of fentanyl, Neil, which is enough to kill every American multiple times over.
If I could switch gears, Congressman, while I have you, China appears to be coming back from very, very strict COVID restrictions. A lot of people are interpreting that positively, that it's going to improve global trade. Maybe we can come out of this supply chain disruption. But the Biden administration is entertaining easing tariffs to help Americans afford products from China more readily than they could otherwise. What do you think of all this?
Well, we wouldn't have the inflation we do if it wasn't for Joe Biden injecting trillions of dollars into the money supply. So that's really the root cause of inflation to begin with. So if we want to solve issues, we should look at root causes. But also,
would you be for
China's
removing the tariffs in this case? Because obviously Americans pay that, and they're paying a lot more for that. What do you think?
Neil, I think that's a Band-Aid on an arterial wound, quite frankly, and it's rewarding China for really bad behavior vis-a-vis Russia and the Ukrainian, the invasion of Ukraine. I don't want to strengthen China and weaken the United States, and I think that kind of a move sends the wrong signals.
So when the Chinese are talking, they've been doing a lot of saber rattling to your prior visits points, Congressman. Do you think that if China were to invade Taiwan, I'm taking a leap here, sir, that we would and should militarily get involved to help Taiwan?
Neil, I don't think we have any choice. I think we should be guaranteeing Taiwanese sovereignty right now. I wrote a piece of legislation to do just that, because Taiwan is so incredibly critical to the global economy and the United States economy with their making of the semiconductor chips that if Taiwan were to fall to the Chinese, you're looking at the Chinese almost cornering the market on it and holding the world economically hostage for 2 to 3 years, if not longer. So we have no choice but to defend Taiwan and use that as a deterrent to say, if you try to take that island, you're going to be facing the might of the United States military.
Congressman, thank you very, very much for joining us. We'll watch